Hey, everybody, what a wild weekend of football, both Saturday and what we saw yesterday. Love Mondays. It's my favorite segment of the week with this man right here, Sean Salisbury. All right, Sean, I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I'm not even going to welcome you to the show. I'm going to ask you as a Raiders fan. I mean, you got the ball at the, 7 or 8 yard line. You need 4 yards for a first down. You're down by 8 with 2:22 left, and you kick a field goal. I mean, come on.
Oh, Grant, those are decisions, and I hate to say this because I don't wish this on anybody, to get coaches fired this early in the season. They really are.
Yeah.
And I believe his response was, well, we needed multiple possessions, correct?
Yep.
We needed more. Basically, as I paraphrase it, listen, no, you didn't. You needed one possession and a 2-point conversion. That's what you needed.
Yep.
That's what you needed. It's like you hand-delivered a loss to your football team by not giving them a shot and hoping – a defense that hasn't exactly been over the last handful of years the best defense in the league to what? Try and get a stop?
Yep.
Try to recover. The coach's job is to put his team in the best position to win, and Josh has not done that enough as a head coach. That's just the facts.
Terrible. Here's the other deal. I mean, you still need a touchdown even after kicking the field goal. I mean, you got the ball at the 7 yard line. What the hell are you doing? It's just
and another field goal still keeps you away from the victory. It just
I know.
And you always take, if I'm a coach, I always say, okay, what's the better opportunity to get the touchdown? Now or hope? I have the ball now, so let me go try to score. Now, if it was 4th and 37 I get it. You hope then an onside kick, whatever it is, but you cannot do what they do, and you didn't give your team the best chance to win. And it feels like that's elementary school football. I don't know going in what would get into your head. Sometimes you don't look at the analytics card or the metrics. Dude, get a feel. Know the room. Shit, you're a head football coach for the second time. You got to be better.
Well, listen, you talk about elementary. I mean, we talk about Brandon Staley all the time. He has not changed the way he coaches, but I mean, give me a break. You got the ball on your own 24 yard line with under 2 minutes left, and Minnesota only has a timeout, and you're going for it on 4th and 1. I mean, you know it, and I know it. If Minnesota scores there, Brandon Staley, he doesn't have a job right now, and nor should
he. Grant, when I watch him, I know he's a bright young mind, and we keep saying it, but bright young mind maybe with X's and O's.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, and this is going to sound harsh, his in-game decisions are horseshit. They are awful. They are novice. Like it's almost as if you're saying, okay, what can I do that doesn't put my team in a good position?
Awful.
But this isn't once. It's not twice. This is a trend. And now I want you to take, for instance, a guy who constantly does something that's in his control, jumps off sides, late penalties on a football team, hits guys in practice late, and a coach says, listen, we can't keep doing this to win. What do you eventually do, Grant? You cut him. You move on from him.
Of course.
No matter, even if he's but what a football savant. He's a great X's and O's guy. But it doesn't he's still, put it this way, is he hurting your team more than he's helping you? I'm trying to figure out, now if you just throw him in as a coordinator, like he's probably a hell of a coach. But when it comes in, there is a difference, Grant, you know this, from position coach to coordinator on both sides is a different, because you're calling the rhythm, and you can be good at one and not good at the other. And it's the same from a coordinator to a head coach. I've seen plenty of guys and call the hell out of a play, and they couldn't coach shit out of a wet paper bag, and they get the job because they were good at calling plays, yet they get there and they don't understand leadership. They don't know the room. They don't know how to get buy-in. It's because they're X's and O's. Well, then why don't I send you back to where you were good at, X's and O's, and let's put somebody who understands CEO-ship in here and how to make decisions. Don't screw your team up. I cannot fathom some of the decisions these head coaches make. Well, it's part of the game. You're in the emotion. Well, a coach can't be. A coach has got to be smart on his preparation going into this. We held you to a higher standard. You get time to look over that little card and all the stuff you do while you're driving down. You should have in pregame gone over these and said, okay, if this hits, here's what we're doing. If this hits, here's what we're doing. And then you let it, you grip it and rip it. You can't be indecisive. And if you're going to be indecisive, it sure as hell can't be to favor the other team, not your own. I don't understand. And we'll label these guys geniuses and boy, phenomenal. No, he's actually not. He's a good X's and O's guy, but doesn't know how to run a team. Can't run his own damn nose. Fix it.
Sean, I will tell you a guy that really looks bad right now, and I like him. and that's Sean Payton. You know, he called Nathaniel Hackett, said that was one of the worst coaching jobs in NFL history last year, and ripped to shreds his staff. And he just had arguably the most embarrassing performance that we've seen, maybe in your and I lifetime. I don't ever recall seeing a beat down quite like that. This is humble pie. Call it karma. Call whatever you want. But the bigger story here: the Broncos are a mess. They look horrible.
They're amateur hour all day long everywhere. They have some good players, but they don't do anything good. They don't. And you know, and I listen. I've known Sean a long time, and I love him, but he's not above criticism on this one. If you're going to call somebody out, you better be able to step up and bring it. His quarterback threw for 300 yards, but he does not win anymore. He does not elevate the team. Russell Wilson is just a guy. Anytime you know what, Grant, it reminded me of, I swear to you, is you know how on practice, the offensive team, the number ones, they draw up on this card during the week, the graduate assistant, if it's in college, or somebody who's on the defensive side, or a new assistant coach, they draw up all the defenses you're going to see, but they draw them against plays as you script your practices for it to be successful against it, so your offense feels good about the play sheet, right?
Hey, you have confidence.
Yes, you know what it looked like? It looked like Miami's number one offense, and they were holding up cards saying, hey, it's going to be cover 2. This is where you throw the 2-beater. And that's how their defense looked like. It was like scripted in practice for you to be successful on every play. 700 yards offense. This is like Big 12,
right?
Quadruple overtime Mahomes versus Mayfield. What kind of shit is this? This is a pro football team running out there, and Sean does not look good for it. And I guess it just wasn't Nathaniel Hackett who had a rough go of it, right?
You think?
Man alive, what a guy. And you know what's crazy? You mentioned the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers. They all have one thing in common. They're in the same friggin' division. Yeah. And what is going on with the AFC West water on teams that were supposed to be good? I'll tell you one thing I can promise you're not going to see the rest of this year. Somebody score 70 on your ass in pro football. Nobody else is scoring 70 points in the regular season this year. Right now, the Denver Broncos are nothing short of an embarrassment to what's gone on that football team.
And so are the Chicago Bears. They're an embarrassment. And I got to tell you, Sean, you and I have talked about this, and I hate to bury a kid that's in his 3rd year. I really do, because I'm a firm believer that you have to give someone, particularly at the quarterback position, more than 2 years. And now it's been 2 years and 3 games. But Justin Fields looks lost out there.
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of a lot of things. They don't have great separation with perimeter weapons. They don't run it effectively unless he's on the run. They're, whether it's Getsy or they're Matty Eberflus, whatever they're doing game plan wise, it's not working. If you're doing it to protect Fields, then you need to let the governor off and just go play football like you are. Matter of fact, get to the point where you're drawing it up in the grass if that's if you're going to be that pathetic game planning it. And then the execution by Fields, while he's an enormous talent, right now the talent's not shining through. And if they had to do it over again, so I'm just telling you, if they had to do it over again, they would have that trading situation. They might have thought different of it. And I like Fields, I do, but we're not seeing anything near to the ability we need to see. And this keeps up. They're going to be faced with the same decision with a high pick like that. And this time they're not going to pass on it, because you know who that body's going to be if that's the case.
And then you got, Zach Wilson with the Jets. Were you ever booed at your home stadium in either USC or the Vikings?
Yes.
And so, there's nothing worse, right, when you get booed on your home field. But he deserves to get booed. And, of course, he's been booed ever since he put on a Jets uniform for all intents and purposes. They booed him off the field last year, and they got booed off the field yesterday against the Patriots.
If you go to a burger joint or a pizza joint and the pizza tastes shitty 4 straight times and the service is bad, eventually you're never going back, and you're going to write a bad review. Listen, I've met Zach Wilson, nice kid. We're talking about performance on the field.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson's performance says, he is holding this offense up. Yanking balls into the ground. If you want to go play 7-on-7 and throw it in the spots that are that, he can rip a whole shot once in a while, great. But he just doesn't know how to make just every normal play. It is. We're sitting here mentioning all this. I'm fascinated by, we get C.J. Stroud here getting his brains beat in the first 2 games, comes in. He still has not thrown an interception. He's pushing the ball down the field. They're letting it rip. And he's given them so much hope already. And Zach Wilson with all this potential. Grant, it's been a while since I've seen somebody so average on so many simple throws. I'm just talking about stuff that's open that it's like everything's 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and he just can't grasp how to get the ball in an easy, simple way to his receivers. And you know what? There's times I deserve to be booed at home, and there's nothing worse than your home crowd. It's your family basically booing you is what it is. And there's nothing better than getting booed on the road because that's a sign of respect. The sign at home is, dude, every single game, the reason that we're having struggle moving it is because our quarterback can't. I'll tell you what, Wilsons are going to ruin Hackett's career. I'm just telling you. From Russ Wilson to Zach Wilson, Hackett's had both. And I don't know if it's direct, but neither. I mean, this one wasn't playing well before Hackett got there. And the one that had him, Hackett, he was playing bad enough to run Hackett out. And some of it was Hackett's fault too. But damn, I can take Marino to play better right now than Zach Wilson at his age, throwing from the gun. He will not miss as many throws as Zach has.
I did a rant this morning going back to look at the 2021 draft. Wilson 2, Trey Lance 3, Justin Fields 11. Niners gave away a ton. Bears gave away gave a lot to the Giants to move up to get Fields. Think about that. Top 11 picks, and we're talking about 3 quarterbacks that look like they can't play.
And a guy who was drafted last year, or a year ago, last April, was the last player picked in the 7th round is better than all 3 of them, and damn near combined the way he's performing. Yes.
Yeah. Unbelievable. It's incredible to me.
It's a hard watch, man.
You and I talked about this last week. There's a lot of bad football being played right now in the NFL, Sean. It really is.
Right. Well, look around. I mean, it's not, like I said, this ain't a personal. It's just a fact. Watch them play. I mean, the offenses, and quarterback play, Lawrence has not played very well.
Nope.
I mean, Bryce Young had Gardner Minshew's coming off the bench and starting for him because of the injury to Richardson and keeping the team alive. I mean, some good ones are playing. Burrow has started off his first 2 games in a struggle. We've seen Lamar gets beat yesterday, but he still had a good game. Hell, he rushed for over 100.
He did.
But that sloppy football, it's not just quarterback play. On the offensive side of the ball, I'm seeing sloppy quarterback play everywhere. And then look at the results when they do play well. C.J. Stroud was great. They got a couple special teams big plays. You win a football game. I mean, I know it's a quarterback-driven league, but it's been a long time since I've seen offenses where you're like, what? What am I seeing? And play callers involved as well. It just there's not a lot of rhythm going on these first couple weeks, but the great ones will find a way through it. Yep. But Zach Wilson's who he is. I'm just telling you, I don't think Russ Wilson's his best football is behind him. The Raiders continue to scuffle. We can go. A lot of these things are trends, Grant, that have been there now, not just 1 or 2 times, that are becoming an everyday thing.
Okay, so
Tua deserves far more friggin' respect for his game. And look what Mike McDaniel's doing. His philosophy is if it's been done in the past, we're going to do something different.
Phenomenal.
Because you're not staying ahead of the curve if you're just kind of just doing what everybody else does. And I mean, you're talking about reach, boom here, and shovel passes off of it. And I friggin' love it, and that's fun to watch right there. Yes.
All right. You used the word trend. And when I hear the word trend and we're talking about quarterbacks, I go to Dak Prescott. I want you to take me out of the huddle and walk me up to the line of scrimmage and tell me from your great experience how the hell Prescott makes that throw that he made from the 5-yard line in the 4th quarter in a must-score situation. There wasn't just one defender. There were 2 behind the one that intercepted the ball. So that ball could have been picked off by 3 defenders had it not been picked off by the first guy.
And we've seen the movie, Grant, and here's a guy who, after the first 2 weeks, people were saying the Cowboys could be NFL's best team. And they go and play a team in Arizona that, quite frankly, is makeshift. It really is, Grant.
Sure it is.
It's a perfect – it's like sets up – and I understand losing Diggs is important defensively. That's not the reason they lost, although down the road it may be. That guy's a phenomenal player. Would they need him to get back when he can? And it sucks. But I can tell you, that great quarterbacks. Now you make mistakes. You'll try to force one in, it gets tipped. But that right there is like, as a 7th grader, you're saying you just can't throw it there. I don't know what he saw, but he obviously they played with his eyes closed, because if you're reading it out and just peek at it, to me, Grant, sometimes here's what happens. And I don't know if it happened with Prescott, who I got a lot of respect for, but facts are this. I've done it. You come to the line of scrimmage, you've worked on a play all week and it's worked, and you're expecting a certain coverage. And whether you get it or not, you've already premeditated where you're going to throw the ball. And even though it may take a little time, what happens is I got this guy, I think he's going to win. and you're oblivious to what's going on around you. You throw it, and then you go back and look at tape, and you say, "What the was I just thinking?" He will look at it and say, "How did I miss that? How did I miss that?" I thought that while Denver's performance is embarrassing, I don't think the Broncos are any good anyway.
Yeah.
I thought the Cowboys were good. I think theirs was just as bad, even though it wasn't 70 points on defense.
Yeah.
To go in there and lose when we've crowned you one of the 3 best teams in the NFC and one of the 3 possible best teams in the league, and Dak making strides, and then all of a sudden you put the ball in his hand in there and you're relying on that guy to make a play.
Yeah.
He gave his team no chance there. Can't do it, or the Cowboys will do what they always do: get to 10-6 or 10-7 or 11-6 and find ways to lose. You can't find a way to lose that game.
Yesterday, to me, is another prime example of how general managers make mistakes when they build their football team. The Cowboys were without a couple of key linemen, including Zach Martin, all right, and their center. And when you take good offensive linemen off the field, generally speaking, that team struggles. We saw it a couple of years in the Super Bowl when Kansas City didn't even score a touchdown because both of their starting tackles were out against Tampa and they couldn't even move the ball. Sean, I got to tell you, if I'm a general manager, and I know we got salary cap and all of that, and you got to have the sexy quarterback and you got to have the edge rusher and you got to have your corners. But me personally, I'm building my offensive line, and that's where I'm starting, and I'm not finishing until I feel I've got one of the top lines in football.
Yeah, it starts with the guy who takes those snaps. Then for me, it's the continuity, not just one of them. You need like 3 or 4 good ones up front. I'll give me 4 good ones, 1 decent one, as opposed to just 1 great offensive lineman and 4 guys who are because eventually I'll find your weakness and I'll just pressure away from your best lineman. I agree. Well, think about the Cowboys in the 90s with when Emmett was running the football. They had the Hall of Fame. They dominated the line of scrimmage, and it made Troy and Michael's job easier, and their defense was good. The Patriots, when Brady was winning Super Bowls, they protected him up front. It's a
and they had great tight ends.
That's
they had
look
Novacek. You had
exactly right.
And with New England, we obviously know who we had as his tight end. So I mean that we can't forget about the tight end either, because both these guys, what we're talking about, not only were they great catching the ball, but they could block the hell on running plays.
There's no doubt, and their ability to do that allowed them to play action and get space to run. And I'm going to tell you this, you're not winning a Super Bowl or a national championship. We talk about all the pretty finesse stuff. And I'm a quarterback and I love the finesse stuff, but I also know as a quarterback, if you can't, well, look what happened. Colorado's been beautiful finesse, right? I mean, they've been beautiful the first 3 weeks looking at
but they didn't play anybody.
But what I'm saying is it still looked good. They're moving the ball all over.
Yeah.
But look what happened. It just validates your point. When they found a team that muscled them at the line of scrimmage, they got manhandled and they got their ass kicked. So you're not winning a national title, and you're not winning a Super Bowl. You may get close, but for you, even with the great Mahomes, no tackles in the game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers exploited them and hammered their ass all day long. So while you got to have the quarterback, if you don't have the 5 guys up front dominating the line of scrimmage, your ass is sucking buttermilk. You've got no shot.
All right, so USC, they didn't look good on the weekend. Now they go to Boulder, and they're going to take on a Colorado team that just had their nose rubbed in it. Do you think USC will do to Colorado what Oregon did?
I think they're off. The quarterback, Bo Nix, is a good player. Caleb Williams is better, more explosive. He's better at everything than Bo Nix is. And I was at the game Saturday, Grant. I'm still in Scottsdale, and I was with a longtime coordinator in college football who's been doing it forever. And we sat there and watched Caleb together, and he looked at me, and he finally said, because I've been telling him, he goes, Sean, seeing him in person, he goes, the way he does, he goes, this dude's different. And he is. Now I can tell you this, and I think he's special, but I watched that. They came out, the defense first 2 or 3 series got after Pine, and they gave him no breathing room, and all of a sudden they lulled, and Alex Rich's team missed some tackles, got beat on a couple special plays. They screwed it up in self-inflicted error. They messed up a handoff, gave Arizona State the short field. These little things you do in Shadur Sanders will kill you. Yeah. Now, the physicality offensively should put up 40-plus. If you're asking me, will they score 40, my answer is yes. They're going to score 40 in my opinion. But the question is, if you don't get pressure on Sanders, they'll score points, and USC's done that. That's been the reason they didn't play in the Final Four last year. They couldn't get stops against Utah. Hell, in their bowl game against Tulane destroyed them with their offense. So they're going to score from the parking lot during tailgate time. The question is, can you get stops on a pretty explosive offense? I still think SC is going to play better. They sluggished around for a couple touchdown victory. They're better than that. But in order to get where they want to go, their defense is going to have to play far better to stop on not only on the perimeter but in the interior and miss tackles.
I'm very excited. This weekend, I'm doing something I've never done before. My son lives in Nashville now, works at the ABC TV station there, and we're
Awesome.
going to the Tennessee South Carolina game Saturday night in Knoxville, and I can't wait to go to Neyland Stadium. But I'm also very excited to see Spencer Rattler play of South Carolina. He looks like a gem at a quarterback.
Yeah, he's finally, he came in as a gem, and he had him as a first-round pick, possibly the first pick when he was at Oklahoma. That last season, it didn't go well. He got benched for who? Caleb Williams, Lincoln and Caleb leave. He transferred to South Carolina, goes there and tries to rejuvenate, and then has a good season, but comes back uses all his eligibility. And kudos to him for trying to reinvent himself, and he's doing that, putting up numbers. Be a hell of a matchup, Joe Milton and him getting after it. And what a great place for an atmosphere in football. You're going to have a blast. Get there early to tailgate, brother. That sounds awesome.
We're getting there early. No question.
Yeah, you and your boy, that'll be a blast. Good for you.
All right, final thing. Tell me, how's the Pro Sports Fans app going?
Another record weekend for us as far as, new new users. We had a couple great meetings this week, and being the president of it, Grant, when you're building a company, I've got great people around it, but building a company, constant elbow grease and sweat equity and raising money. But between some of the sponsorships and our phenomenal investors that believe in us and the money we're raising, but also technical team, the whole key is the content creators. As you know, you can't do it without people behind the scenes, but also with the people that are putting it out there.
Yeah.
We've had a phenomenal following, and I think that I don't think there's a ceiling on it. I think it's a game changer, and I can't wait to have more people involved, and the people that believe in it are seeing what we're doing that's special.
It's awesome. I've been on it, man. It's awesome. A hell of a job. Hey,
thank you.
Safe travel back to Houston whenever that may be, and we'll talk to you next week, my friend.
Thank you, brother, and good luck. Go Trojans, but also you and your son have the time of your life. I'll talk to you before then, brother. I can't wait to hear about it.
Sounds good. You be good, Sean. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. Always great having Sean Salisbury on. What a fabulous segment. It's one of my favorite, probably is my favorite of the week. I'll tell you, I also love New Works Plumbing because, boy, when you have an issue, you have a plumbing repair and you need service, whether it's at 4 a.m. or 4 p.m, they'll be there for you. All you need to do is go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Good to be with Ryan in Sacktown. What's up, buddy? It's that time of year. We got a lot of college, NFL, and guess what? NBA training camps open this week.
Right around the corner. We wait no longer to see the formation of this team and how they start to gel together early in the season.
Yeah, you and I are going to be on Twitter Spaces tomorrow at 7 o'clock Pacific. So I invite everyone right now to mark down your calendar tomorrow, 7 p.m. over on Twitter Spaces. I have not gone on Twitter Spaces before, so I'm looking forward to trying out that platform.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys can raise your hand and come up and ask questions, and we'll make it a big community forum, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And if you're on the stream right now, we'd really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button because we're going to be coming at you with a lot of content, not only during the football season, but now that we have the start of training camp. So I am really excited, and I know Rhino is too, man. Ryan and I met for lunch today, and we went over a couple of things, and we're gearing up for what we think is just going to be an unbelievable fall, winter, and spring.
We're rolling our sleeves up to our freaking necks.
Yeah, we're rolling our sleeves up to our freaking necks. That's exactly right. Oh boy!
Hey, you gotta get into that like kind of hyped up state if you're going to watch SEC football, Grant. I mean, that's going to be something.
Absolutely, else. But it's only Monday, so if I get to that state too quickly, then I'm old. I'm not going to be able to go the distance on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a 7:30 start in the evening in Knoxville. So I told my son, I said, listen, we're going to be leaving at 10 in the morning. We're going to get there and we're going to spend the whole day in the afternoon. And he said, we're good to go. Let's do it. I'm like, yes.
Good job right there. Awesome. That is great. Have a great time, by the way.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. So we didn't touch on all of the games. Let's touch on the Seahawks here as they keep pace with the 49ers.
Yeah, you know what? It was a typical Seattle game. You know, they had their moments when they played well. Passing game looked good. Running game looked good at times. Their struggle is they can drive the ball down the field. they just can't always finish in the red zone.
I
So
know.
they
Yeah.
need to start coming away with 7, a little bit more than 3, but very satisfied with the performance. I thought Andy Dalton looked really good stepping in for Bryce Young, and a great effort by the Panthers, but happy to be 2-1 if you're the Seahawks.
Yeah, you know what? Absolutely. Now the next game, you got a Monday night game in New York against the Giants. And I got to tell you, that's a gigantic game for both teams. Probably more so for the Giants than the Seahawks for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're at home. And number two, they're 1-2. And they guess what? You go down to South Florida and play the Dolphins. So to me, if I'm going to diss from a Giants perspective, it's pretty much a must win, or else they're not going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it is. And the Seahawks, unfortunately for the Giants, they travel well to MetLife Stadium. They have history there. That's where they won their ring. But it's a big game. I mean, Miami, Grant, have you seen anything like Miami in the first 3 weeks of the season with this offense?
I've never seen anything quite like it. As Sean said, I mean, it looks like they knew what all the coverages were by the Broncos before they even got up to the line of scrimmage. So yeah, it's been pretty amazing. And I remember, by the way, that Super Bowl, they had just opened up that stadium, MetLife Stadium, and had the Super Bowl. And I'll never forget that snap going over Peyton's head. And you're like, oh, this could be a really good day for you. I mean, early on where it's like, uh-oh. But yeah, how about that Super Bowl outdoors? And people were wondering about what it would be like. It really wasn't that big of a deal playing outdoors, but I don't think you'll see that again. I think that from now on, for the cities that build stadiums in cold weather, environments, they'll say, you want a Super Bowl, you got to have a roof on there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. In fact, I think a big snowstorm hit like a day or two after that Super Bowl.
That's right.
People were trapped there. So I agree. But that was a special, perfect night in New York City. And I'll tell you what, the 12s, they showed out. They caused that snap over Peyton's head. It was a miscommunication.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, so we've got a lot of good things to look forward to. You and I tomorrow on Twitter Spaces at 7 o'clock. And then we will get right into the preseason preview, training camp. And before you know it, I mean, it's hard to believe that we're going to be hitting October this weekend. And then games start, regular season games. What is it? The 27th and 29th, the first road game and the first home game for Sacramento. So it is just right around the corner.
Yep, and they're going to hit the ground running. And then even the preseason games, I think they start as soon as October 7th.
Yeah.
So we're right there.
Yep.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds good, buddy. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you tomorrow over on Twitter Spaces.
Sounds good, Napes. Talk to you soon.
All right, good stuff right there. And don't forget that Bennett's, they are awesome. I've been out there a couple of times in the last few weeks. I was out there Friday having lunch with Brian at the West Side Grill in Rockland. They're in the Blue Oaks Town Center. Just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can check out the menu and everything else. Bennett's West Side Grill. It is fabulous. You will love it. I actually was at Bennett's twice this past week. Took my son to Bennett's on Fair Oaks and Howe, and we had ourselves a fabulous New York strip. Phenomenal. It's great. Love it. I'll be there again this week as well. All right. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, I'm going to be on Listen App in about, let's see what time is it here. 32 minutes. I'm going to be on Listen App. All right. So hope you can join me. We'll have a lot of fun. That's coming up for you in just a little bit at 4 o'clock. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the doubleheader of football tonight. And I'll talk to you in about a half hour over on Listen App. Bye-bye.